To begin, remove the front wheel from the vehicle. Remove the pinch bolt on the strut fork located at the bottom of the strut. Remove the nut and bolt holding the strut fork to the lower control arm. Using a strut spreader tool, spread the pinch mount enough to wiggle the strut fork off the strut body. Under the hood, remove the 3 bolts holding the strut to the shock tower. You can now remove the factory strut from the vehicle. Using spring compressors, remove the top nut holding the top mount to the strut piston. Place the retaining washer onto the Raceland coilover, followed by the factory top mount. You will then place the upper strut washer onto the coilover and secure it with the supplied nut. Slide the coilover into position in the shock tower and reattach with the 3 factory nuts. Position the strut fork onto the bottom of the coilover, and when it's seated completely, secure with the factory pinch bolt. Attach the bottom of the strut fork to the lower control arm. You can now reinstall the front wheel as the installation for this corner is complete. To begin the rear, remove the wheel from the vehicle. Remove the bolt holding the strut bottom to the rear control arm. Have someone pull down on the rear hub while the lower strut fork is placed to the side of the control arm. Remove the cotter pin from the upper control arm joint. Loosen the upper control arm joint nut just enough to be flush with the threading of the ball joint. This will allow you to tap the nut with a mallet to free the joint. In the trunk, remove the 2 nuts holding the strut to the shock tower, and the strut can be removed from the vehicle. Using spring compressors, remove the nuts holding the top mount to the factory strut. Place the retaining washer onto the Raceland coilover, followed by the factory top mount. Place the upper top mount bushing washer onto the coilover and secure it with the supplied nut. Position the coilover into the shock tower and secure it with the 2 factory nuts. Reattach the upper ball joint. Tighten the factory bolt to secure and reinstall the cotter pin. Lift the lower control arm to the coilover fork and reattach it with the factory nut and bolt. You can now reinstall the rear wheel as the installation for this corner is complete.